Welcome to the beautiful Bay Area. I'm here for one reason in this video, because everyone now has access to the Robotaxi network from Tesla, and that's something I've been wanting to try really bad. And well, finally I'm here, able to do it. This is available in Austin, Texas, and here in the Bay Area in California, and well, that's what we're here to do in this video, to see how well it works, both practically and from a tech standpoint. So we are going to call a car and see exactly how this goes. You have to download the app, sign up for everything, and that's exactly what I've done. If you don't know what this is, let me break it down real quick. This is Tesla's ride-hailing service, but what makes it unique is that it's fully autonomous. That means nobody is actually driving. Think Uber or Lyft or any of those services you've probably already used, but it's a robot driving. That is the ultimate goal that Tesla has here. And this is, well, the first glimpse that most of us will ever have at that. Now, Tesla is not the first to this space. Companies like Waymo have been at it for quite a while, and so they definitely are playing some catch up here. But the strategy behind this is completely different, and so it's interesting to see how Tesla is doing this. So just getting into it, this is how it works. We're going to get Alexa's opinion because she is more of a normal person, and we'll get my opinion as well, who really cares about this stuff. But it's very simple and straightforward. You just download the Robotaxi app, sign up, and once you have an account and you are in one of these service areas, well, now you can hail a car. The car will drive to you just like any other service, but the difference here is that instead of interacting with a human, you interact with the car itself. So I get in the car, and on the rear screen, I just start the drive from here. And this is also where I can adjust all my settings. I have different apps for entertainment. I can adjust the air conditioning, music, all of that from the rear screen. And it drives me to where we want to go. In this case, we're headed to Apple Park, and that's pretty much it. The difference here, though, is that it's driving itself. Now, this is still early days. What we're seeing right now is not the final Robotaxi experience that Tesla has been promising for years and years at this point, but it is our first real taste of what this is actually going to look like. And the fact that it's kind of working right now, well, it seems like it actually is coming. The tech isn't fully rolled out, though. The fleet is super small, and Tesla is still gathering a ton of data here. And probably the biggest thing you'll notice is that there is a safety monitor sitting in the driver's seat right now. This happens on every single ride, but they are not driving. They're simply there to gather data and take over in case anything happens. And so yeah, this is not the final product by far, but in all this footage you're seeing, the car is driving itself over city streets, through highways, with pedestrians, with bicycles, all kinds of normal traffic. The car is doing it on its own. Now, even though these robot taxis might make owning a car a thing of the past, well, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. And so that's why you need today's video sponsor, 3W, because they provide something we all need in our cars: floor mats. 3W offers some of the best premium floor mats out there for your Tesla and really any other car you have, S, X, 3, Y, Cybertruck, whatever you have, they probably have a solution for you. If you need floor mats, especially as we're getting into the winter season where your car can get just destroyed, well, 3W is the first place to look. Now, what's great is that 3W gives you the option of full protection, but they also offer a few different features that I've never seen before. So you can protect the front and rear seats like you'd expect, but in, for instance, the Model Y, you have protectors for the back of the seats and the trunk, or in the Cybertruck, you have a full bed liner that will protect from dirt and debris. And these are all meticulously scanned so that they fit your particular car perfectly. And that's important because if it doesn't fit correctly, well, then eventually dirt is going to find its way under the mat. And then what's the point then? And this is using what 3W calls their Vigor Mold technology. And basically what that means is it's going to keep its shape for years and years to come, so it will fit perfectly. And it's still super easy to clean because it's made out of a 3W Thorax material. And so you could just pull it out of the car, wash it off, and put it back in the car. That's it. But one feature I really love is you have this option of adding a second floor mat on top. And so you have that Thorax material underneath, and then you can add a carpeted liner on top. So if you want that more plush feeling, well, you can have that. But if you don't need it, you're going off-road, going in the snow, something like that, you can take that out and make sure you can easily clean these. So if you just picked up a new Tesla, or maybe you want to spice up your old one or any other car you have, well, now is the perfect time to buy. I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can check out which options they have for your car, along with a nice little discount code for you. All right, just finished up our first ride in this pretty beat Tesla Model Y. This Model Y has been through a lot. It is pretty janky. The strut in the front is destroyed. It is disgusting in the back. I don't know if you can see that, but hey, they work. Yeah, the Robotaxi got us to our destination. We're here at Apple Park, just having a good day being tourists, checking out the products, checking out the merch, getting some matcha. Both Apple and Tesla, that's a pretty good day for me. Okay, we're done with Apple Park. Time for a debrief. She got her hoodie. We're ready to go. But this is coming from someone who knows a lot about this, who cares about this. It's kind of all I think about these days. She doesn't really care about it, but she listens to me talk about it all the time. So she knows how the system works and everything. But generally for me, my impression is that it is exactly what I was expecting it to be. It feels like full self-driving in your own personal car. I just happen to be sitting in the back seat, and that's exactly what you want. There was nothing that happened. We went a good 20 miles, I would say. It was a pretty long distance. Nothing happened, nothing weird happened. There was no accidents, there was no slamming on the brakes, none of that. We got on the highway, we went around corners, we went with pedestrians, all the things you would expect, and it did it extremely well, the way I would expect. And that's basically how FSD 14 works right now. It works pretty much all the time. The thing is though with FSD, and I would assume this is still the case in Robotaxi as well, is that it works perfectly until it doesn't, and then the question is what happens there. Right now, there was someone sitting in the front seat that is monitoring everything, so if something were to happen, they would be able to take over. But, you know, that's kind of not fun. There's no point in having that. And that's actually your impression here. That we'll just go to you, because that's really your main point here. What?
Yeah, so...
Why are you laughing?
Because you just stole everything
okay,
that I was
well, go
say.
give your impressions. Go.
I was just going to say, it was a very underwhelming experience. Like, what he said, there was a guy in front, and so I know the car was driving itself, it was full self-driving, but just the fact that there was a guy in front kind of made it not as cool of an experience, because it just felt like I was riding in someone's Tesla and they're using their FSD, which I've already done in the past. So it wasn't like, oh, this is a brand new experience, as opposed to when I got in the Waymo for the first time a couple months ago. That was really cool. It was like, oh, this is cool. The car drove us to wherever we needed to be, and there wasn't anyone driving it. I know that was the same thing with a Tesla, but just the fact that there was a guy there wasn't as cool, which, to be fair, it gave me less anxiety, because if something were to happen, given that we were also driving quite a bit, like 20 something miles, it gave me the comfort that, you know, he could take over at any time, but at the same time, it wasn't as cool because there was someone there. So it just felt like an Uber. It felt like someone driving their Tesla. Didn't really live up to the hype that I had in my head for some reason.
But the hype came from me.
Yes, the hype came from you. He's very excited.
Because to me, this was still very exciting. I loved it. Even though it was super boring, I'm all in for it. I'm ready to go do 10 more rides.
Yeah.
But for you, you're done.
Yeah. But I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited for the time when there's not a guy in front of the seat, right? And that the Tesla is actually driving me around. That I'm excited for that time. But right now, it's just not as cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I do have a few questions for her, though, that maybe you guys would find interesting, because she's more of a normal person. For me, like, these types of systems, I'm coming back in a few weeks and I'm debating, like, do I even want to rent a car, even though I do need a car, or am I just going to use these types of systems? I'm talking about why in a second. That's probably not going to happen, but, you know, I'm all in on this. Whereas for her, first of all, the question I had is, if I wasn't with you, would you use the system on your app like you do Uber right now? Is that something you'd use?
No.
Why?
I think I'm just familiar with Uber, so I don't see the point of trying something new that might cause me some sort of anxiety. So I'll just stick with what I know. So I'd say no.
Yeah, and I wonder how many people are like that. Like, you just use what you know. And I wonder if in the future there will be some type of partnership that Tesla does with like an Uber or a Lyft, so that they can kind of gain more adoption. I don't know. I could see that being an issue, because like I know for me, like I said, I'm all in, but most normal people, that's not the case. Most people don't even know this exists, which is a good thing, because there's not many cars available right now. But, you know, once this becomes more popular, I'll be interested to see what the adoption is like. The other thing, though, that I have a question for is, I was telling you on the drive over here that theoretically that car would be like our car that we could put onto the system. Would you want people driving in our car that way if it's our car that we actually own?
No. I am weird about having strangers in my car. So the fact that I don't really know who's going to be in it,
even though it's monitored and everything.
Yeah, that feels weird to me. I'm already very picky of like who can borrow my car and things like that among like friends and family. So
or we have our beater car that like you could take that one, but not the Tesla.
Like I've already heard horror stories from friends who do Uber. That's and true. The type of people that.
Well, that, and we also have friends that do Lyft, or not Lyft, Turo.
Yeah.
Where they Turo their Teslas.
Yes, and not even that. Like, like when you do Uber, when you do Lyft, like you're in the car, but you still get weird people. Imagine how weird they're even gonna get if there's nobody to keep them in line, you know?
Yeah.
So I just feel like unless I'm buying that car for the sole purpose of being a Robotaxi and making me money, and it's not my own personal vehicle, then I'm okay with it. But if it's also something that I would use or my own personal vehicle, I'd feel a little weird about it. I'm always going to be questioning, like, oh, what's in the car? What have they done? Like, things like that. So it just doesn't make me feel good about it as of right now.
That's kind of how I feel too. Like, I am very, like, this is my car. I don't want anyone driving it. Even though, I know that maybe doesn't really make that much sense. That, like, maybe I shouldn't be that way, but that's just how I am. It's like, this is my car. Don't mess with my stuff. Or, like, there's a certain situation where I'm okay with you doing that, just not all the time. But I wonder what that would look like if, in the future, FSD is just so normal, then maybe I would get over that because it's like, I don't know, I don't really care about my car as much because it's not something I'm attached to. It's just a utility. It's an appliance. Whereas, like, I don't know, if I needed someone to, I don't know, I'm thinking about this. I was thinking, like, if someone needed to store something in my fridge, but I feel like I'd be weird about that too. I don't want people putting their random stuff in my fridge either, or random people washing their clothes in my washing machine. I don't want random people in my car either. It's like the same thing. But then I also wonder if we get to the point where FSD is like super popular and we get to that point, then I think what will actually happen is that for me, I would have like an enthusiast car, my fun car, my personal car, but then for the day-to-day, I just wouldn't own a car. I would just use this service. Like, I wouldn't care about it, but I wouldn't put my personal car on the service. I would just use other people's, which I know is maybe hypocritical, but that's how I would feel. I'd be like, well, I just don't need a car anymore. I would just use the FSD service. I don't know. That's kind of what I feel. You kind of agree?
Yeah, and I have additional thoughts about the Robotaxi in general. I think normal people like myself, and especially older people, I don't think this is something
like
that
parents.
They'd be, excited about, because part of why I like Uber and Lyft, I love talking to my drivers, which
man, I hate it.
I know some people don't, but I do enjoy like the human aspect of it, and I think a lot of people find comfort in the human aspect of like a taxi or Lyft or Uber, of just the nuances of like, what if something changes, or like something happens, or you're like, oh, I don't know. It just makes the human connection, we're losing that already, and like I feel like this is another aspect where it has become very isolating and lonely and technologically advanced, which is awesome for tech people like you, but
yeah, I love it. I don't want to talk to anyone. Robots
people
only.
Who want to keep humanizing this world, or I care about the human aspect, like I don't necessarily love it.
Yeah, well, and then when we were in the car, another interesting thing to get prepared for is that she asked the driver, I guess, the attendant, he's not really driving. She asked him, like, hey, is this like the busy time? Because something we're about to talk about right now. She asked, like, is this a busy time? And he was like, that sounds like a normal question, but I can't answer it.
He's like, this is a general question, but I can't answer it. Like, he's not allowed to talk. Converse, I guess.
Because the idea is that he's not really supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like, he's not driving. He's just simply there because regulations are making him be there. Right now.
So that was just a weird
But you
experience.
always talk to the Uber drivers.
I know. I always talk to the Uber drivers. I love hearing their stories. I make friends that way. I network that way. So to lose that, I don't know. I'm like, I just picture people that are like, would get on their phone, get this Robotaxi, be on their phones the whole time they were there. Like, you just lose connection, and Like, I know that's the future of the world, but it's kind of sad to me.
Well, yeah, but there was another thing that I was thinking on the way there, because we were coming here to Apple Park because we were looking for a fun place to go for this video, but also a place that we could sit down and do work, and they have a nice coffee shop here. But on the way here, I was getting messages that I needed to reply to, and the idea that like we could go 20 miles in a 30-minute drive, and the whole time I could be working. But then I think about it, I'm like, that's the same thing as Uber, though. I've done that many times in Ubers. Like, I've been editing videos in the back seat while I go to JFK, and like I remember that. So it's like the same thing. I guess the person in the front seat, I don't know. I think it's cool. The technology to me is awesome. But for me, I'm almost more interested in the fact that my personal car can do this. Like the fact that I can be driving my car and then I can let it take over. Or when we're going on a road trip to come out here, I don't have to drive the whole time, and like I can be on my phone, or I can take a nap even. Like, that sounds awesome. But the idea that they just drive themselves around, it's not that exciting to me. I don't know.
It's kind of scary.
It's not scary to me. I think it's cool. It's just not that fun. But hey, I don't know. Thanks for listening to our podcast. I've never made a video where we just talk like that, but I think that was good. Yeah. It's good to get your impressions. But actually, we'll just keep it running, because this is something else that we were talking about earlier as we were in the coffee shop here. Let's check it right now, because we're at Apple Park here. We got to go home back to Palo Alto. So what is like 20 miles, something like that. I'm opening up the Robotaxi app. Okay, now it says a ride can arrive in 13 minutes. When we were inside the coffee shop about 20 minutes ago, or right before we started filming this, it was saying it was too busy and that it was not available to check back later. And that is a big problem right now. That if you've been on X, or if you've been on social media and you've been looking at the Austin area, the Bay Area, there is just simply not enough Teslas on the road right now to make this a reliable service. And obviously that'll get fixed with time as they add more and more cars. But that was something to consider if you're planning to come and use this as like your main form of transportation. That's not going to work. But interestingly, as we were sitting in there, I got the notification on my phone that Waymo was now available in this area, which they just released that expansion, but I got the notification on my phone that I could actually use it. And it was interesting because at that moment, I was looking to book the ride so that we can leave with Robotaxi. It said not available. I switched over to Waymo. It said it would be here in 8 minutes. I think we're probably I'm gonna try and book the Tesla if we can. But if not, we're gonna be using a Waymo because it just works better right now. Sorry, Tesla fans, that's not gonna make you happy. But right now, Waymo is just way more reliable and way more cool.
I agree.
But Robotaxi does work.
But I bet Uber is 3 minutes away.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Uber is probably, it's probably closer. All right, it says it can arrive in 12 minutes. Let's do another ride. I'm gonna book it. Let's see, where are we going? I've got to enter in my address.
Yeah. I really hate the Robotaxi right now that there's a guy in front who is not supposed to be there. So, because I just don't like the experience. I like talking to my drivers when I'm in an Uber, but if you're going to be there, but you're going to pretend that you don't exist, it kind of defeats the purpose and kind of ruins the experience for me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I get weird when it's just radio silence, and I love chatting and talking. But if you're pretending that you're not a person, but you have to be there, it's kind of weird. I'm not as comfortable.
Well, now, they did say, Tesla said that will be going away soon, that they expect very, very soon to not have any attendance, just like the Waymo. So I know we're judging it a little early. I know this is early stages, but this is just a real person's...
Yeah.
That's why I wanted her to talk, because for me, I'm like, this is cool. I'll do this all day. For her, you're just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Like, I either want a Waymo or an Uber. So either give me a person I can chat with, or just let me be alone in the car and make it a cooler experience. And I think right now Waymo has that effect more. All
right, I'm gonna book this. It'll be here in 17 minutes. We're doing the Robotaxi. It's available. Yeah, 17 minutes is a long time to wait. I've got a gray Model Y coming to pick us up. All right, let's see how this goes. All right, it was successful. We made it into the car. There's one more thing we wanted to talk about though, and that is price. Because right now it is definitely cheaper to use Robotaxi. It's a little bit more finicky, like we were talking about. But this was a $30 trip. We checked on Waymo. It was about $5 more. And we checked on Uber, and it was about $10 more for the cheapest option. Now the question is, will it stay that price? Because for you, price is very much of an issue for you. You always go to cheapest. You'll put safety out the window if it's cheaper. But I think the idea is that since eventually there's no driver, no one even in the car at all, that the price could be lower. That would be the idea. At least compared to Uber, where you have to pay the driver. But then when you were talking, you like the driver. So that's maybe worth the money for you.
Yeah. The interaction.
The interaction, and then just someone there to drive.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Uber driver's not good though. But you don't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I care about that. So I don't know. But yeah, that is one thing that is interesting to see as it goes forward, what price is going to look like, because that'll be a big deciding factor. I think that's a good way people could adopt this type of service, is if they're like, oh, actually it's way cheaper than using Uber or something, then that would make sense. Which right now it is, but it's still very early stages, so it's hard to say what that'll actually look like. One last thing I want to talk about, kind of mentioned it earlier. This is not something you notice at all probably, but the first car we had, the front strut or something in the front sounded like a strut, blown, bad. I wonder if it hit a pothole really hard or something, but these are relatively new cars. It's kind of surprising that it was so noticeably broken in that way. The car drove fine, but something was up. This one doesn't have that issue. I feel a slight vibration in the rear wheel maybe. Nitpicking here, but there's definitely a vibration going on. And the whole point there though being is that if one of the biggest issues with FSD right now is that it doesn't do a great job at noticing issues in the road, like potholes, debris, that type of stuff. So like in your own car, you really have to be paying attention for that kind of stuff. There was that one pretty viral video where they were driving on the highway, they completely nailed a piece of metal on the road and the car jumped. It's because FSD just doesn't pay attention to those right now. That's something they definitely have to fix. Not only for Robotaxi, because these aren't my cars, so I don't really care what happens to this car, but for my own car, I do care. They gotta fix that. So overall, the Robotaxi experience was underwhelming, but in a good way. It's exactly what was promised. Nothing out of the ordinary happened, but the fact that it is so, well, relatively boring, I think is lending credibility that, hey, this is maybe closer than a lot of us might think. And because Tesla has cars upon cars that have the ability to run this software, well, there could come a day once it's safe where they can flip a switch and truly have the biggest fleet out there. And even though right now it is far from perfect in its implementation, well, you'll have to let me know what you think, but for me, I see the future.